Hello everyone, my name is Daniel. I'm your host today. Since today is an online webinar, please note that all video and audio are automatically off. If you have any question during the presentation, please type your question in the Q&A box, and our speakers will be happy to answer them during the Q&A session. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good day to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this online webinar. For your information, this online webinar is a recognition of the International Geodiversity Day, which was celebrated yesterday, 6 October. Today, webinar is a collaboration between the Tropical Science Foundation and the Academy of Sciences Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, this webinar series is leading up to the Tropical Science Conference, which the Tropical Science Foundation and the Academy of Sciences Malaysia will host together in 16 and 17 October 2024 in Kuching, Sarawak. It is my privilege to introduce our esteemed colleague, Academic Emerita, Professor Tan Sri Dato Sri Dr. Mazrul Osman, the co-chair of the International Conference on Tropical Science, Senior Fellow, Fellow of the Academy, member of Young Scientist Network, Academy of Sciences Malaysia, the Academy Partner and Affiliates. Welcome to our pre-conference webinar, International Geodiversity Day. Our focus today is on conserving the past and sustaining the future. Ladies and gentlemen, before I pass the floor to Mr. Logannathan Ponnambalam, our moderator for today, please allow me to introduce Mr. Logan a little bit. Mr. Logan is an ASM Fellow appointed in 2019 at the Academy of Sciences Malaysia. He holds a bachelor degree in applied geology from the Universiti of Malaya. Notable contributions include authoring 2 memos for the Geological Survey of Malaysia and leading groundwater exploration in Johor Bahang, Terengganu, and Negeri Sembilan. Mr. Logan retired as Director of Corporate Affairs at the Minerals and Geoscience Department of Malaysia and served as the Southeast Asia representative for Mitsubishi Materials Natural Resource Company, Japan. At ASM, he was recently the main report writer for the Water Sector Transformation 2040 and for the business model for developing an ion adsorption clay rare earth elements industry in Malaysia. Mr. Logan is affiliated with several geological organizations and is a registered professional geologist with the Board of Geologists Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's begin. I would like to invite Mr. Logannathan Ponnambalam to moderate the session. Please welcome Mr. Logan. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for those kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and participants from around the world, we have also, I think, from Indonesia and from Thailand who are with us other than our local participants. A very good afternoon and welcome to the Geodiversity Day webinar. And as you all know, the International Geodiversity Day was held yesterday. And we are doing it in recognition of the International Geodiversity Day, and it is celebrated in Malaysia. This year's theme is Conserving the Past, Sustaining the Future. And you have already have my introduction. It is my great pleasure to serve as your moderator for today's discussion on the topic. Just for your information again, this event is also part of the series of webinars on various topics held in conjunction with the International Tropical Science Conference, which will be held in Kuching, Sarawak on 16th and 17th October. Today, we have gathered 3 eminent geologists to explore the significance of geodiversity and its critical role in sustainable development and environmental preservation. Our discussion will focus on the management and preservation of geological heritage, approaches to geoconservation, and the impact of geodiversity on biodiversity and climate change. Through this discussion, we hope to understand how effective geodiversity conservation can mitigate disaster risk and support sustainable resource management. This occasion highlights the critical importance of understanding and protecting geodiversity, which includes the variety of non-living elements such as minerals, soils, fossils, and landscapes. It underscores the need to integrate geodiversity considerations into policies, resource management, and conservation efforts. Today is a celebration of the rich natural heritage of geodiversity, as well as a call to action for its preservation for future generations. Although there is a need to protect our geodiversity, there is also a need to balance this protection with sustainable resource development. We have to remember that in the past, it was resource development of minerals and rocks and forest products which enabled socio-economic development to take place for humanity's well-being locally and globally. Ladies and gentlemen, the objective of this webinar is to bring together experts, policymakers, educators, innovators, and interested parties to discuss the management and preservation of geological heritage and natural resources, approaches to geoconservation and sustainable development, and the discovery, this is a really exciting, of Malaysian dinosaur fossil fauna. Through our engagement, we aim to share knowledge, raise awareness, and inspire actions towards promoting and protecting geodiversity for a sustainable future. With this in mind, let us now focus to today's discussion. We have an esteemed panel of experts who will guide us through the complexities of geodiversity. Joining us today are Associate Professor Dr. Tanot Anna Unjah. She is a professional geologist registered with the Board of Geologists Malaysia. Dr. Tanot Anna Unjah is an associate professor and a senior research fellow of the Institute for Environment and Development, or known as Lestari, in Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. And I mentioned she is also a registered professional geologist with the Board of Geologists Malaysia. She's a graduate geologist at the Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, our national university, and obtained both her master's and PhD in environment and development with a focus on conservation geology from the same university in 2003 and 2011, respectively. Her current research interests are nature conservation, nature-based tourism, which is geotourism, communicating science, integrated heritage conservation, geohazards, sustainable regional development, and geoparks. Her research output and expertise has contributed to establishment of global and national geoparks, drafting several local and national plans, acts, and policies and strategies for specific task force in the country. So she's very eminently placed to give us her views on what we lack in Malaysia. So, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker will be Dr. Jarum Dayangkrum. He wants to be called as Ja for short, and it is a pleasure to introduce him to this webinar. Can we show Dr. Yeah, can we show Dr. Because we all know Dr. Tanot is a local person. All right. So, like I said, we go on to, now he's the Deputy Director of Education and Information at Korat UNESCO Global Geopark in Thailand. Dr. Ja serves as a lecturer in the Geography and Geoinformatics program at the Faculty of Science and Technology, Nakhon Ratchasima Rajpat University, and is a researcher at the Northeastern Research Institute of Petrified Wood and Mineral Resources at the Korat Fossil Museum. Dr. Ja holds a PhD in paleontology and stratigraphy from the University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, Beijing. His expertise includes paleontology, comparative anatomy, geology, geoconservation, and sustainable development, with a special focus on neogene mammals and proboscidea. So another eminent person, but from Thailand. It'll be interesting to hear from what Ja has to tell us. Our third speaker is Associate Professor Dr. Masatoshi Sone. Sone-san is an expert in geotectonics, specializing in paleontology, stratigraphy, and tectonics. He holds a PhD in Earth Science from the University of New England, Australia, and a BSc Honours in Earth Science from Deakin University, Melbourne. Dr. Sonne is an active member of several prestigious societies, including the Geological Societies of Malaysia, Japan, and Thailand. He has contributed to several international projects like IGCP 735 and IGCP 700 with UNESCO. Dr. Sonne received the Frank Canavan Award from the Geological Society of Australia Victoria Division in 1998 for his outstanding contributions in the field. Now, that essentially covers our three speakers. Just for the information, each panelist is given 20 minutes to do his or her presentation, and the Q&A session will be after all three panelists have given their presentations. Participants may pose their questions in the chat box. So I will, at the 15th minute, I think I have to maybe knock on the on the on the slide to let you all know that that your time is you have got 5 minutes to wrap up your presentation. So with that, can we now invite Dr. Tanot? She is going to talk on her first presentation entitled The Management and Preservation of Geological Heritage and Natural Resources. Please, Dr. Tanot.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Logannathan. That's so generous of you in introductions. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor and pleasure to be here this afternoon and to share with you on my, this is more like, I would say, a journey from my perspective toward conservations and sustainable utilizations of geological resources in the country. I hope I can make it within 15 minutes. And let me
You've got
arrange
20
this.
minutes. 15 minutes is your
15
marker that you've
minutes,
got 5
okay.
minutes left.
Okay, I have 15 minutes to do so. And I would like to thank the Tropical Science Foundations and Academy Sciences of Malaysia for this opportunity to share, thought about Malaysians' conservations and sustainable utilizations, and particularly on this day, International Geodiversity Days, where we celebrate the geodiversity of the earth. With these topics called conservations, conserving the past, sustaining the future, I would like to bring all of us to see what have we done as a country, and how far have we done with our conservations or even sustainable utilizations of our natural resources, particularly in geodiversity. And this is basically the outline of my presentations, consists of Malaysia geodiversity and the nation development. I think this has been mentioned by Mr. Logannathan that, this country have been developed by geodiversity. And I bring to how we do balancings in developments and conservations. Is it possible? Or what is, or do we really balancing it at present? And some way forward that we could do as part of my concluding remarks. And let's start with Malaysia geodiversity, because speaking of geodiversity in Malaysia, we might looking into something that, some of Malaysia geodiversity is not easy to be seen, just like when you go to another part of the world. If you go to Europe, in which the country is dry, and then you can see all the rocks are there. In America, you can see all the features are very clear and evidence. Or even went to Thailand, where you see all the dinosaur and all the fossils are huge and big. But being in a tropical region, this is some of the challenges why I highlighted this, because having a high rainfall, high temperature, and high humidity, we have a dense land covers. So some of the geological features of particularly geodiversity is quite difficult to expose and be seen to the people. And only few very outstanding will be, really, we could say not protruding, but we can highlight that. For example, Gombak Ululanga Quartz Ridge, that is so eminent in the middle of Kuala Lumpur. Only few like that. But this is very common where we have a lots of land covers and all of those are under the um, green color, and then we often see the biodiversity instead of the geodiversity. Yeah. So this is part of our challenge in Malaysia in conserving the geodiversity. And often we look into biodiversity first instead of geodiversity. But speaking of geodiversity, if we take off all the coverage of all the things that we've seen, all the greens, this is the geological map of Malaysia. This is simplified one from by the Geological Society in 2009. As you can see, Malaysia are made of, Peninsula Malaysia particularly, are made of two continental terrains, by Sibu Masu terrains on the west and Sukhothai terrains on the eastbound. And in the middle, there's something interesting here. There's a crustal block that separated both terrain. Both terrain are totally different age. One is Paleozoic, one is Mesozoic. And in the middle, we see there's a Bentong Sucho zone, which is purple in color. That is remnants of Devonian and Permian Paleotethys ocean basin. And we know that the Sibu Masu, which is orange in color, is originated from Sibu Masu, interpreted by as a Northwest Australian Gondwana based on biogeography, stratigraphy, and basement age and detrital sediments. And if we can look at Peninsula Malaysia in this way, we realize that the geodiversity itself is diverse. We are from two different era of Mesozoic and Paleozoic. And in the middle, when the two met, we have another different geodiversity. This is one of side of peninsula. And when we look at Sabah and Sarawak, we see that this is made of made of single plates that host four main events, either pre-carboniferous basement, carbonate platform, accretionary prisms, and quaternary sediments. But most of the things here in Sarawak are much younger than what it is in Peninsula Malaysia. In Peninsula Malaysia, we have, the oldest rock in the country, which is 550 billion years old, located at the Sibu Masu block. And the youngest must be here in Sabah and Sarawak. So looking at this diverse geology itself, we can imagine how diverse is geology in the country, or geodiversity that we have in the country, from the features, from the age, from the rocks and types of things. And that also made things, for example, make the country so rich in this mineral industry. This is Malaysian industry produce, which is, the accumulations between two, this is mainly in Peninsula Malaysia, when the collisions of plate created a lots of the sea volcanoes and create a lots of minerals, which is, contribute to the country. We are known for our tin long time ago, and lots of tin mining here. We still have gold, we have copper, and we are moving to aggregate bauxite, irons, and sand and silica. This is few things contributed by geodiversity to our country, and these have been what built the country throughout, from being a developing country to now we are moving to a developed country. So we have been, the basis of the country are mainly all the geodiversity in the country, mainly made of minerals, made of the rocks that made it. So although we didn't say it, because it's been covered by biodiversity, but underneath we have all these resources throughout these years built the nations of Malaysia. Yeah. And how this geodiversity become part of the nation development, we see that most of the entities that been built in the country since 1903 is looking at extracting these resources. The Geological Survey of Malaysia in 1903 is assisting in mining that already started in the 18th century. And then we have Geological Survey Act looking at how these resources to be, what should we do? How do we extract it? And we are very focused on Mineral Development Act in 1984, very focused on how we gonna extract it, what to do, and there are rules and regulations in it. In 1999, there's one big things happened in the country when they're merging between Geological Survey of Malaysia and the mining Department of Minerals in Malaysia become a Department of Mineral and Geoscience Malaysia. Therefore, the role of these entities are much bigger, but still looking at resources to build the nations. And in 2008, we have Geological Act, which is looking at how who's the geologists, who's the people. Then the people who work in it are being appreciated under this Geological Act and what define them. And when we look at this, the geodiversity itself, create a big entities in the country and become part of things that build the nations itself. No, I'm sorry, this might be one-sided of it, but I know there's another resources like petroleum and so on, but I speak of one-sided. This geodiversity have built the country. Yeah. And now it's come to a questions. We have been extracting all resources throughout this since 18th century to build the nations. Is there a possibility to come to a balance between extracting and conservations, and what the purpose of doing so, and what the benefit of balancing it? I show you a picture here on, this is Batu Cave right in the middle of Kuala Lumpur. One of the, I think, the most southern part of Paleozoic limestone left in the country. Very few left here in the southern part of Asia. In Batu Cave and some in Templar Park, and only few left in Kuala Lumpur. This is the most southern limestone. If people studying limestone, they have to come in. But if you look at this picture, you realize that surrounding this area are full with development. Even you can say it encroaching the limestone hill itself. And if geologists, we consider this is one of the monument geologies or geosites, very important for geologists to learn about the limestone of Kuala Lumpur. So I speak of this because, there's still a lot of people who like to mine this, but there's important to protect it. But is there a possibility to do so? Yeah. So there's a few key things for finding balance, because it is a matter of, do we able to conserve the memory of the earth that is 4.6 billion years old until recent, probably thousands of years. In the case of Malaysia, we would say, is it possible to conserve things from 450 million years old until recent? So that is our big question to ourselves. And secondly, the understanding of geodiversity, when we look at several cases happen in the country lately, for example, sinkhole in the middle of Kuala Lumpur, it's very important to the development of sustainability of livelihood of people in the middle of Kuala Lumpur. And also, how can this, in the case of natural resources, the rock itself preserve a lot of gigatons of carbon sink. And how can we continue to keep the carbon being kept under the rocks itself, so that it continue to contribute to human well-being? This is still a question, Stan. And also we realize that the earth is so active that is continuously shape the earth and also shape the diversity on us. It might not be prominent in Malaysia, but we all know that we get impacted by, remember the tsunami of 2004 and all the earthquake. We also feel the earthquake, and there's several sinkholes as what happened in our country. Sometimes we said we're not being impacted much about it, but then nonetheless, we are part of the region within it. So we have to accept that the active earth definitely shape various diversity and influence in life of the people here in our country. If we speak of this, we speak of geohazard, for example, landslide that shape the environment here in Malaysia as well. And to some extent, it's also shaped the livelihood of the people and their culture. I speak of this in the perspective of people who live in a mountain have different types of livelihood compared to those by the sea. We speak of in the mountainous area and the lowland area. It all affected by the geology and by the geodiversity itself. And it also shaped the culture of people of the sea, it shaped the culture of people of the mountain. That is both extreme, but there's also something in the middle. So this is some of the few things that we do in the country that we, in terms of balancing between conservation, development and conservations. You know, as a country, we only get influence from outside. In 1972, we've seen that there's work on World Heritage Site by UNESCO at that time. But two of those criteria are very much on geology, looking at Earth's record of life and its geologic processes. And one that second is contain natural phenomena that are rare, unique, superlative, and outstanding beauty. If we speak of this, we do have, because according to our in 1977 from Department of Mineral and Geoscience, they identify more than 16 outstanding geological features across the country at that time. And the second wave are very much on 1990s to 2000s. This is also looking at the possibility, but in this case, it is, is it possible to do extractions and sustainable utilizations? So this is an approach that introduced subject called geotourism at that time. This is much work by Geological Heritage Group of Malaysia. They started the work led by Prof. Ibrahim Komo, Muhammad Sapi Al-Leman at the time. And then they are exploring Mount Kinabalu, Gunung Tahan National Park, and Langkawi. And they established several terms called geotourism as a subject, as well as conservation geology, that is looking not just to preserve the geological heritage or particularly geodiversity that are outstanding, but also become a philosophy, a study that looking at the intrinsic of geological resource and their development. I bring the word geoconservation as well because conservation geology as a subject, but geoconservation, as mentioned by Burak and Prosa, is more like practices in recognizing, protecting, managing the site. It is very much by the practitioner. In this case, it has been a work of practitioners in UKs to do geoconservations. And a lot of the work are done by practitioners. But in the case of Malaysia, we start with conservation geology as a subject that looking at systematic way of protecting and managing resources. And this is probably the last wave that I could say Britain still moving. I'm sorry it's not until 2024, but we're not sure until to what extent. But we realized that a lot of work have been done since 2000s looking at significance of geodiversity within the country. Because in a way of finding balance, we cannot protect everything. We still need to do a geodiversity to do the nation development. We need it for nation building. Therefore, we identify what is important geology would need to be kept for the generations or for the near futures to know about the geology of the country. This study have been identifying more than 500 geosites across the country. And we know there is such an uneven distributions across the country, but most of the work already started on mapping and characterizations during that time. And then there's also, after having these numbers, we're looking at how can we sustainably use it. We call it sustainable utilizations. That when we started to have our first geopark in the country, looking at how we do some integrated conservations, not just, putting geology by itself or geodiversity by itself alone, but how geodiversity influence biodiversity, how geodiversity influence the culture. And that also mean about utilize geotourism site that we have for geotourism. You can see several trails that being made in Langkawi, for example, in Kelim, in Machinchang, as well as another part of a national geopark that we have across the country. And in 2013, this is quite a big move because the Malaysian National Geopark Committee established under the ministry, at the ministry level. So sustainable utilizations of these natural resources are one of the things that happened in the country in the third wave. And now we are very much working on the social innovations, we call it, which is active work on National Geopark by researcher, practitioner from diverse background to work together because at these junctions, we already have people from various backgrounds work together to protect and conserve and utilize it. And not just utilize because we want to give identity to the people who own it. And at present, Malaysia have 10 national geopark and 2 UNESCO global geopark. And the third wave also looking at slight accelerations that looking at program and courses offered by leading university with geology since 2009. So this program either in conservation
Dr.
geology or
Tanot, you have 5 more minutes.
Okay, I'm almost there. Almost good. Thank you. And there's also thematic groups within the Geological Society of Malaysia as well, and the courses and activities under Institute of Geology Malaysia. And the most significant celebrations is when the Board of Geologists of Malaysia created a strategic plan in 2023 and 24, which putting geotourism as one of the key things within the strategic plan, and also recognitions as conservation geologists as part of the professional geologists. So there's also another country commitment which is needed in this area, which is establishments of Malaysia National Geopark under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability in 2013. And also we published the National Malaysia Geopark Development Management Plan and Development Plan in 2003. And this is among the way forward that we see and road toward sustainabilities of geodiversity is. We realize that geodiversity definitely underpinning the life on Earth, but often we are undermining it in the conservation, and this undermining or compromising either understanding and knowledge were it will give some difficulty for us to adapt and thrive on Earth, because the lots of things are influenced by the geodiversity of the Earth where we live. And conserving the past, sustaining the futures, in line with the theme, we realize that geodiversity, that whole ancient environments, we know that geology can tell you each of the story of ancient environments that hold by the rocks. Each layer have a story of ancient environments, and that also tell a story of ancient climate change. And understanding this garner the knowledge to for greater adaptations and mitigations among human and civilizations. And it is important as well to acknowledge that geodiversity is a non-renewable resources that will not replaceable within our lifetime. Therefore, sustainable mining or sustainable utilizations are important. Or either we want to have the resource or finding a new resources so that they continue to benefit the human and build the nations. And last, it's definitely call for concerted effort among the people and support from various agencies that involve in either protecting, managing, and promoting geodiversity, so that this geodiversity that we have continue to provide environmental service to the human being. Yeah. With that, I would like to acknowledge that all the things that I have here is contributed by research that done in this with this. Either I become a member or I become a member of the task force and technical group that contribute to the natural resources and geodiversity that we have. Yeah, the research on it and what we need to do in the future on balancing it. And with that, I say thank you so much. Yeah, you may email me because the question and answer will be later. So I back to you, Mr. Logannathan. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tanot and Unjah. And that was quite illuminating to know what is happening in Malaysia. So just to give a summary of what Dr. Tanot had been talking on, she talked on the Malaysian geodiversity in a wet tropical region with high rainfall, high temperature, and high humidity, as well as dense land cover. So these are the challenges that a geologist would face in encounter in the field. She then described the geological terrain with pre-Carboniferous basement to the young sediments and that occur in both Peninsular Malaysia and in Sabah and Sarawak. We are also rich in industrial minerals as well as economic minerals, making up the geodiversity of the country. So it is important to realize that the geodiversity includes both industrial minerals and economic minerals. She mentioned the various governance acts of the departments that occur in the country, and she moved on to talking about the balancing of development and conservation, giving examples of limestone hills around the capital city. She described the keys for balance from conserving and the memory of the Earth, which is a 4.6 billion years, to the recent, which is around a few thousand years old. And we need to understand that it is important for the national development, yet sustainably to contribute to the humans on and shaped by the active Earth. She also gave a brief history of the first waves, second waves, and currently the third wave, and described what the geoconservation is all about. She had to then identify that in the third wave, identifying sustainable and social innovation resulted in 10 national geoparks and 2 UNESCO global geoparks being created. She highlighted that the country commitment and the way forward. So geodiversity is a non-renewable resource, and she called for concerted efforts and support for various agencies who are undertaking this particular task. So thank you very much, Dr. Tanot. Unjah. So now, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please wait until after all three panelists have given their presentation, but please post them now on the chat box. All right, we now move on to the second speaker, and that is, of course, Jah, who will now go talk on the geopark in the Korat UNESCO Geopark approaches to geoconservation and sustainable development. The floor is yours, Jah. You have 20 minutes. That brings you to 4 o'clock Malaysian time.
Did you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we hear you and we see your first slide.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and hello, everybody. Good afternoon from Thailand. So today I would like to give you a presentation about the approach to geoconservation and sustainable development in Korat UNESCO Global Geopark. So because my slide is so many, so I will go fast, okay? It's not go how to. Okay. So this is the content. Firstly, I would like to brief you about the Korat UNESCO Global Geopark, and the next I will talk about geoconservation and geoeducation and how to simplify the scientific knowledge for the local community and the geoproduct and the conclusion. So Korat UNESCO Global Geopark, situated in the northeastern Thailand, cover 5 of the 32 districts in Nakhon Ratchasima province, and the total area is about 3,000 square kilometers, and population is about 740,000. And Korat is a short name of Nakhon Ratchasima province. This is just only one province in Thailand have the short name. I think it's Korat. It's easy to remember for you. We have 39 geosites, including the 11 cultural sites and 7 natural sites, and 21 geological sites. And so you can keep you can go to the deep detail in my paper here, 2022. This is the geological setting. Korat Geopark is a part of Korat Plateau that affected by the collision between the Indian and Eurasian plate and uplift to be the Korat Plateau. And we can see the oldest rocks in the western part of the area and the youngest in the eastern part of the area. So there are 7 rocks formation from the Mesozoic era. from the Jurassic to the late Cretaceous export in this area. So we call this is from the Pukadung Formation, Parihan, Saukwa Pupan, and Kokruat of the Korat group. And then the Mahasarkham formation is the salt. So we can see the saurian soil in this formation a lot in the area. And then the third sediment cover on the top of the area. And then this is the scenario. You can see the Lamdakong River is the antecedent river that's cut off the mountain and flow and through the Korat Geopark area and connects with the Moon River in the Chalermpakiat district and flow direct northeastward and connects with the Mekong River in Bonratchathani province. And this is I show you the anticry and character, and this is from very important geological morphology in the western part of the area. So that's why we show the UNESCO about the geological significance. One is the Cuesta mountain in the western part. You can see the double Cuesta in the area. The outer line is from Parihan formation. This is about 140 million years ago, and then another one is Pupan formation. This is about 120 million years ago, and the Cuesta form very unique and interesting because some part is become to the log chairs, and people in the ancient time live in this area and paint the picture like this. And this is important for our Korat people to learn about the ancestor that's more than 4,000 years ago in this area. And then the Cuesta mountain peak in Korat Geopark is very kills because there are more than 20 Cuesta mountain peak export in Korat UNESCO Global Geopark territory. So another one is the fossils that allow the Korat city. We found a lot of fossils from the, for example, the Pleistocene vertebrate fossils in the northern part, and then the Neogene mammalian fossil in the eastern part. Especially we found 10 genera of the proboscis or the ancient elephant. This is the biggest amount ancient elephant discovered of the world. And the southern part we found the gemstone petrified wood and the dinosaur bone and their association in the western part. This is a good discover in our geopark. And I would like to talk about the geoconservation and geoeducation. So I will come back before 1994 in the Nakhon Ratchasima province faced a crisis of the due to the large-scale trade of petrified wood in this area, and a lot of the large petrified wood took out from the local area. So at that time, Dr. Pathurn Kintasapun, the director of Korat UNESCO Global Geopark now, they would try to protect the fossils and keep it in the local area. So you see this picture is most impressive for me. Now I can see the real picture from the local area because of we have the museum before that. We try a lot to get the budget to build the museum, but you know, this is not easy to get the budget. But on 1997, Dr. Pathurn presented the crisis and importance of petrified wood conservation to Her Royal Highness Princess Mahachakri Sirinthorn, and she very interested on this. And finally, oh, sorry. When he conserve a lot of petrified wood, but on the same time, there are a lot of fossil, mammalian fossil and dinosaur export in the trade market. So he tried to protect it, especially the ancient elephants. So finally, we can get the budget to build the museum in the area. Of course, the princess came and opened the museum in 2004. So we have 3 buildings for the exhibition. One is the petrified wood, another one is ancient elephant, and the last one is the dinosaur building. And of course, we don't have the knowledge at that time. We know nothing about the fossils, and we try to learn more and more. We have a lot of activity about fossil, for example, like an intensive course, and we have the cooperation with the expert overseas, for example, from France, from Japan. So we cooperate with Japanese from 2000, and we have the good team to protect the fossils and to do the research about the fossils in the museum, and now it's in the institute. And yeah, of course, the cooperation is very important. So that's why I can get the chance to go abroad to study the paleontology in the IVPP, Chinese Academy of Sciences, and we have the dinosaur excavation project from 2007 to present with the Fukui Dinosaur Museum, and also the Neogene Mammal Fossil Research Corporation from 2001 and to present. And we have a lot of publication. If you would like to be the UNESCO Global Geopark, the publication is very important. So, and then how to simplify the scientific knowledge for the public, especially about the geodiversity, about the fossils, about the geology significant. So we have a lot of camp for young generation and their family to learn about the fossils and geoconservation. We are them to serve the fossils and thinking the future, and especially about the climate change when they learn about the history of the earth. And we have the local curriculum about the geopark, and this implemented in class and field observe in the Kora Geopark territory. And this is very good for the student in the geopark school to learn about the geodiversity in the Kora Geopark. And also we have the publication of the fossils and the geo landscape in the area, and the geo training and learning center in the geopark school, and they can teach the new generation by generation. That is important to understanding about the geopark and about the geodiversity. And we have the panel in the local area show the scientific knowledge, and especially the species of the fossil in the area. And also, I'm so proud with this boy, when he learned a lot with me, and he back home and try to collect the sample and, collect as the scientific knowledge and put the label in the box, and especially the position. This is a very good boy, and I'm so proud with him. And now we also have the geo product training course. When we have the scientific knowledge, but the local people, they don't understand as well about the scientific knowledge, but how to simplify it, and then how to make easy thing for the local community and make the products from this knowledge. And we try to put the elephant, ancient elephant pattern in the weaving cotton and the mat. This is, for example, like the Dinotherium, this one in the fabric, cotton fabric, and then the mat from like this, the four tracks elephant, and we're drying with the natural soil, and not only the pattern from the ancient elephant or the animal, but sometimes we use the sedimentary process, and then the character feature in the column, you know, and started with column, and then make the pattern like this, and then correlate with the soil column, and promote the your product to the public from sometime exhibition booth organized by the UNESCO Cultural Park and promote in a TV show. And another locality also is very important, because here is the prehistorical painting locality, and we try to train the local community to manage themselves, and they can be the guide in the area, and they make the product like this, and connect with the natural. For example, the pattern is the same as the lichen in the forest, and also the coarse bedding, and also can be the pattern like this. This area is also most important for our geopark, because of the, you know, the monk in this area, he tried to protect the forest from the grassland to be the dry evergreen forest. That is 40 years ago. That is added 40 years to work in this area, and now a lot of activity in the local people community.
Jah, you have 5 more minutes.
Yes, thank you. And another one is a Ban Pandung geoproduct. Yeah, as I mentioned about the Masalakam formation, there are a lot of salt in this area, so difficult for the local people to make the agriculture, and they try to protect the traditional way to produce the salt in the area, you know. But the salt is very, very cheap. But after they learn more and train more about how to make the products from the salt, and they can increase the price more and more. And there are a lot of activity if you visit in this area, and then you can enjoy with the activity from the local people. And we have the information center in the local area, and the student and the local people can give you explanation about the area and the salt. And we have also the gastronomy training course in the local fossil site, and we try to make the ancient elephant pattern to be the dessert like this, and then the composite of the food, and enjoy the food with the local people. Here is the tourist and income to the Korat UNESCO Cultural Park visit from 2019 and last year. And this one, Korat Fossil Museum visiting and income. So, you know, when we look back from 1994, and now there are more than 200,000 people visit in the museum. And yeah, this is the way from the way of the finance share in the Korat UNESCO Cultural Park from the museum, university, province, local area, and then the function from the ministry. And the conclusion, the conservation of the local resources is critical, because it will not cause those resources to disappear from the area, you know. And then the development will lack creativity if there is only conservation in the area, but no real knowledge. So we can make the scientific knowledge more understandable through the course study, publication, media, and training activity for the local community. And the last one, the team are essential in driving geopark because working together in integrated manner will achieve the goal. Finally, so the fossil can also be eaten. I really love this word and impressive me, from Dr. Sonsa, so the director of geology section from Department of Mineral Resources of Thailand. So that's why when we work a lot with the conservation and try to profit to the local people, local students, and the young generation, and they can create the thing, create the activity to get the income into the local enterprise. So thank you very much for your attention. And if you have the question, maybe after. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jarun Duangkrayom, for that very illuminating talk on what is happening with geoconservation in Thailand. I like the last part where it says fossils can also be eaten. This is the first time I've heard this being said, you see. So I hope that if you want to look for more fossils, look into the people's stomachs for those fossils. Thank you very much. Okay, just to describe what Dr. Duangkrayom had talked about, he described the various sites as part of the Korat Plateau, and with 7 rock formations ranging in age from Jurassic to Paleogene. He described that the true geological significance, with more than 20 Cuesta mountain peaks in the western part of the Korat group. There is a high potential of Mesozoic and Cenozoic fossils which are found in the area, and this has actually contributed to the economy of the country in that part of the, because people start coming to visit what is in the museum that has been collected by the various geologists from in Thailand. He described the geoconservation and geoeducation. Now, this is an interesting element. Geoeducation, maybe Dr. Tanot, this is something we can consider for Malaysia. Geoeducation is something we rarely talk about except in universities, but not in schools. So in 1997, he said that a very important visitor came to visit them, and this is the royal princess, and she was able to support the agency to get funds to develop the museum and so on, so that the fossils could all be then housed in one particular museum. So there also was a site for research and international scientific networking. This was very important, and as part of it, I think Jarum was sent to China, where he received his further education. One of the most important aspects of the fossil work were the dinosaurs that were found in that area. So in geoeducation, what he said that the key activities are happening in classes. There are also training courses and publications for scientific knowledge at the geopark schools. Now, this is again an important finding. So I suppose one difference between what Dr. Tanot had described about the high rainfall, dense land coverage, you don't see that happening in Korat. In Korat, I think you probably find the fossil staring at you when you go out into the field. No jungle cover. Really? And at the same time, he described geoproducts, training courses given to the various village people so that they can then benefit from what was found by the geologists in the Korat Plateau. So, he described that more than 200,000 people have since visited the museum. This is an important finding that thing. And finally, like what he said, he found that fossils can also be eaten. So thank you very much, Dr. Jarun Duangkrayom, for that very interesting and talk that you gave us. So, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the last speaker. That's Dr. Masatoshi Sone for his talk on the presentation, the discovery of Malaysian dinosaur fossil fauna. So please, Dr. Sone, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Okay, let me start. Okay, can you see the slide?
Yes, yes, clear. And
Okay,
can
thank
hear
you.
very clearly.
Okay, let me start. Okay, thank you for this opportunity for presenting my talk. And today I'd like to talk about some update, our result from our dinosaur and non-dinosaur fossil hunting from Pahang, the central part of Peninsula Malaysia. Okay. So we are working on this project for last 10 years, and because this is really new to Malaysia, so we have some international collaborating team with some specialists in each fossil groups. Okay. Okay, quick introduction about this Mesozoic, or for Malaysia, we have Cretaceous dinosaur-bearing deposit from Pahang. Mesozoic, starting from the end of after the Permian-Triassic mass extinction and ended at the end of Cretaceous due to the Cretaceous another mass extinction. So two mass extinction events borders the beginning and the end of Mesozoic. And over this Mesozoic era, okay, this is called the age of reptiles. Okay, the reptiles, they were the most successful animal groups on the marine and non-marine terrestrial condition during the Mesozoic. And most importantly, this particular extinct reptile group, Dinosauria, they are the most diversified and also in terms of number and abundance, they were the most successful animal groups for over 200 million years through the Mesozoic, basically from the middle Triassic till the end of Cretaceous. They conquered the terrestrial environments of the Mesozoic. Dinosaurs, they were terrestrial animals, terrestrial reptiles, and they don't swim. Those swimming reptiles, gigantic reptiles in Cretaceous, okay, as you see, like, or otherwise flying reptiles, they were not dinosaurs. Simply, basically, dinosaurs are those the terrestrial, land, okay, non-marine reptiles, and they became so diversified. And this is about the size of your myvi, okay, here. Some in Argentina or North America to South America, they became as large as 30 meters or even 40 meters long from the head till the tail. It's far larger than today's, African elephants. Okay, the largest land animals ever existed. But the size, it doesn't matter for dinosaurs. Okay, even a small chicken size, okay, dinosaur, that they were also dinosaurs. Okay, so small to large, it doesn't matter. But they developed, because they were terrestrial animals, they developed good pelvis, hip bone, and they started to walk with 2 legs. This made them dinosaurs. And even later, as they become gigantic, they become 4 legs, back to 4 legs again. But if we look at their hip bone, we know that they were dinosaurs or not dinosaurs. Okay, quickly, the Thailand, as Dr. Jaron explained, okay, introduced. Okay, Thailand has now lots of dinosaur deposit. Okay, the first dinosaur of Thailand was found some 50 years ago. Okay, 50 years ago. And the first dinosaur in Japan was found 40 years ago. Now, the first dinosaur in Malaysia, 10 years. So compared with Thailand, we are, of course, a lot 40 years behind. But if we look at today's Thailand, they are paleontological based, museums. This is one of this is the largest museum in Thailand. They have more than, one, of course. The Cylinderphone Museum in Kalashin, this is perhaps one of the largest paleontological museums in the world. And other than Mongolia and North China, now Thailand is now becoming a hub for the paleontological study, not only dinosaurs and Cenozoic or Paleozoic fossils. And you could even see this amazing preservation of this, the sauropod dinosaurs in behind the Cylinderholm Museum. The whole animals, not I think 2-3 animals imbricating to each other, but the whole animal as it is preserved in a field museum here. Okay. Then for myself, I did my PhD for the geological correlation between Malaysia and Thailand originally, beside paleontology. I'm a geologist too. And so that I've known the geological relationship and similarities and dissimilarities between Malaysia and Thailand. Okay. Then when I look at those Thailand, they have lots of dinosaur-bearing deposits in the Mesozoic. Now, when I look at Malaysia, no dinosaurs. Why no? And if we look at the geological structure, we have similar geological structures between Thailand and Malaysia. So those reddish rock distributions are mainly like those Jurassic, Cretaceous, non-marine sediment. Should be non-marine to look for dinosaurs. We may find dinosaurs in the marine, but mainly because they were non-marine animals, so that non-marine this Jurassic Cretaceous time. So during the Jurassic and Cretaceous, Southeast Asia was very much non-marine and covered with this the river, otherwise lake sediments, and dinosaurs may be deposited there. And lots of dinosaurs already come out from Thailand. Okay. Then Malaysia none. So I say that we have the same structure. Why not from Malaysia? We should be able to find dinosaurs in Malaysia. I appealed to my colleagues and even the university, but that time nobody really listened to me. Okay. No, even my colleagues said, no, you cannot find the dinosaurs in Malaysia because nobody found it here before. And understand this logic. Okay, we cannot find a dinosaur because nobody found it here before. Okay, so but I believed there should be dinosaur because the same rock formations continue. So in Thailand, this is mainly called the Korat group in the Korat plateau in northeastern part, and Malaysia we call this Tembeling group. Okay, and typically they were reddish in color, like this color. This is from near Taman Negara. And as you can see, reddish sediments. Because of this iron, the particular, this is given by that rusty color from the sediments. Okay, so this distributes in Malaysia and something like that. Okay, we identified some bone fossil-bearing horizon. We call it bone beds. So from horizon, we could find lots of now pieces of fossils. And this is the first dinosaur fossils from Malaysia. It is isolated tooth of Spinosaurus theropod, a carnivorous kind of theropod, but particular theropod which loved to eat fish. Not really the meat eater, but the fish. You could see this longitudinal, the ridges over the surface. This is often happen for fish-eating reptiles. Even from crocodiles today, they tend to have this. Okay. You could see about this is preserved length is 23 millimeters long. So actually, it is small, very tiny if you see the real fossil. And then we reported this Okay, then it say that small, very small find, but huge discovery for the Malaysia. Okay. However, this time, even the Deputy Vice Chancellor then and the Menteri Besar from Pahang, okay, we made a the press conference. However, many people didn't even believe our find. Some even said that you found this, you bought this from eBay. Okay, this is not from Malaysia, from somewhere. Or, some people didn't believe this one, but it takes time for this. Okay, and even we proposed the dinosaur project beforehand, but what I heard from some committee, a friend of committee member was that, Masa, your dinosaur proposal is not good. Many professors in the panel, they were laughing at your dinosaur proposal. You better change your proposal. Okay? This was a mentality. Those professors in the University of Malaya didn't even consider that this dinosaur study is a university, can be a university research. Dinosaurs are for just kids, children. Okay? Now we found the first one. Okay? And they were fish. This is the second one. We have now perhaps up to 10 specimens of this Spinosaurid. Okay? And we go for this micro ornament, and particularly the small dentitions on the edge. Okay, this characterizes the Spinosaurid dinosaur. Okay, go. Quick review about this. What is the Spinosaurid animal or Spinosaurus from the Egypt? This is a type genus from the type species from the Saharan desert, Spinosaurus. Okay, reconstructed by the National Geographic project. Okay. Now, based on this reconstruction, Spinosaurus is considered the largest ever theropod, okay, theropod dinosaur, even larger, longer than the T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Okay. And importantly, this Spinosaurus now suggested from their enamel chemistry from their teeth that they were semi-aquatic in habitat. Okay, they lived in perhaps half, the river condition and catching fish. And even some believes that they were able to swim. They were good swimmers. They were adapted to this semi-aquatic freshwater river or otherwise lake condition. Imagine during the Cretaceous, in a river condition, river basin, this large theropod was swimming. It is definitely a big terror. You are lucky that you are not in this condition. Then they were eating big fish. Okay? So this is the first Spinosaurid from Southeast Asia was from Thailand. And the second one from Laos. And our Malaysian Spinosaurid is actually the third find from Southeast Asia. Spinosaurids are important because their find indicates that the river condition was there, river. And also there should have been fish. They were fish lovers. And the Thai species, the tooth is much larger than our Malaysian tooth. And most likely, we have more than 2 different species or genera of Spinosaurids in early Cretaceous of Southeast Asia. And then we found some fish fossils as well. This is an extinct group of shark called high-bottomed sharks and found together with the Spinosaurid deposit. Okay. This like washing board-like structure. So they were like called crushing teeth. Okay. And another kind of high-bottomed sharks. Okay, from the SEM image showing the micro ornament as well. So we have some major fish deposits together with Spinosaurids. Then another one, second one, we also reported in a press conference. Okay, immediately in the end of 2014. This time, more and more people started to believe. Nobody said that you found this, you bought this from eBay. Okay, and the second one was a herbivorous dinosaur. vegetarian, simply speaking, and not semi-aquatic, but living on a terrestrial condition and eating some plants. Okay, from this, even smaller than Spinosaurid tooth, and looks completely different. So herbivorous dinosaur, particular herbivorous dinosaur, called Ankylosaurid, or Ankylosaurus, maybe, from the North America is the famous one. So based on this and comparison with North American teeth of Ankylosaurus, we reconstructed this one. So something like this, okay? So this is the first Ankylosaurid dinosaur fossil from Southeast Asia. None is known from Thailand or Laos, and only some genera known from the Mongolia and North China. Okay, so we now have some evidence of vegetation, the herbivorous dinosaurs on the terrestrial condition. Okay, beside those semi-aquatic river monster, Spinosaurid. Okay, so we could now, one by one, we can reconstruct the paleo environment of Peninsular Malaysia some 100 million years ago. Now we better hurry. Okay, we have even non-dinosaur fossils from Pahang. Okay, simply speaking, we have another river terror. Okay, evidence of another river monster. And this phrase, it didn't walk with the dinosaurs. Remember that the film, Walking with Dinosaurs. Okay, but this, okay, catch copy from North America. Okay, it didn't walk with dinosaurs. It ate them. Okay, simply speaking, the Cretaceous gigantic crocodile. Okay, this is a comparison of their the plates, backbone plates called scutes. Okay, and the middle one is Malaysian fossil, and the left one is the famous giant crocodile called super croc, Sarcosuchus from the Africa. Okay, and others or like this small one in the left bottom side. This is the average size of dinosaur crocodile scute. Okay, even some small ones from the same age, same Cretaceous, early Cretaceous of Thailand as well. Okay, so that we don't say that we have, this Sarcosuchus from Malaysia, but we have something approaching to Sarcosuchus in Malaysia. So Sarcosuchus, or otherwise famous with super croc, made by that. You may have seen this person, Professor Paul Sereno from the University of Chicago. He's the one who reported this from Africa. The super croc, okay? Dinosaur eating crocodile. So scute means this backbone. These were actually originally not bones, but calcified, hardened skin on the back of crocodiles. So that originally skin, okay, not the bones. Okay, so reconstructed one 9 to 10 meters long. So we may have, we may not have this Sarcosuchus in Malaysia, but we have something unusually large crocodile in the Cretaceous of Malaysia, but next to Spinosaurid. So that we had there must have been a river condition, fluvial condition. Then imagine there were two river monsters in living together. Okay, so there must have been a large river condition. Then beside this fluvial river condition, we have this turtle shells, and this is the extinct. Okay, so ancestor of today's soft shell turtles, but lived in a terrestrial condition, not in the water. Okay, this one you see in the middle one, about 80 centimeter long turtle shell, but this shell is extremely thickened, unusually thickened. Why this turtle had to thicken their shells? It is usually because of predatory pressure. Sign of the predatory pressure means that this had a predator.
Dr.
Okay,
Sone,
crashing
you have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. In a terrestrial condition, okay, so that this turtle was on the terrestrial condition and had a predatory threaten pressure, and this predator which made their shells thicken was not the spinosaurids or unlikely spinosaurids or giant crocodiles in a river. Understand? There must have been another carnivore, okay, predator on a terrestrial condition. Then we have something new. I cannot show you this yet, because this is still under the study, and hopefully we can report this next year or sometime. Okay, now we can sense we have some evidence of another true carnivorous dinosaur. Okay, and this is real meat eater. Okay, I'm not sure he likes the fish, but I'm sure he liked the red meat. Okay, so this edge of this tooth, this is much larger than Spinosaurus teeth, and this edge has the so-called steak knife-like edges. Okay, so and the surface is smooth. Typically, the typical carnivorous theropod dinosaur like Tyrannosaurus. Okay, hope to report this in the near future. Okay, about to conclude my talk. So if we look at this Cretaceous environment of Peninsular Malaysia together with Thailand, then this is a reconstructed Cretaceous world. Okay, and Proto-Eurasia, Cretaceous Eurasia here, and Malaysia comes almost this end of this Eurasia. Okay, almost near to the equator, we call paleo equator, or southernmost part of this Proto-Eurasia. So where dinosaurs distributed and end up in the southern end of this continent. So this is, and there must have been a large rivers to accommodate those river monsters. Okay. Finally, my question is, say we are 40 years behind Thailand, okay, because we are neighbors to each other. So we really, care, we have to we cannot ignore to each other. Then are we in Malaysia able to establish a dinosaur or fossil-based geopark or, this museum or, okay, to catch up Thailand in the future? Okay, this is a question. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Masatoshi Shone, for that interesting talk. And I myself am quite impressed with what you and your team have found in Pahang. I know that there were lots of people who felt that we don't have dinosaur fossils in Peninsular Malaysia, but you have proved them wrong. And I congratulate you on your work in the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to go back to what Dr. Sone was talking about, he described the Mesozoic era as an age of reptiles, and most important of them was the Dinosauria. And this was a successful reptile group ever. They were territorial reptiles, and they were large as well as small as chickens. They started to walk on 2 legs first, and then later on 4 legs. In Malaysia, dinosaurs were found 10 years ago, now compared to Thailand, where they found them 50 years ago, and in Japan 40 years ago. So we are very new to the finding dinosaur fossils in the country. You see the geological similarities between Central Peninsula Malaysia and Thailand. So, and like what I mentioned, he was discouraged when he did not get his colleagues to support them, specifically in Universiti Malaysia, which I'm from also, you see. So, but he identified bone beds and found a tooth of a fish eater. Now, this is something which, for the first time, we found in the country. And And to mark that important discovery, he gave a presentation to the Chief Minister of the state of Pahang, and when he described the fish-eating dinosaurs as the terrors of the Cretaceous waterways. He also described ankylosaurids, and these are herbivorous dinosaurs, and described again the crocodile fossil. I didn't know we had this range of fossils in the country, including turtle shells. So he ended his talk with a teaser, which is a real meat lover, but he's still secret for now. We'll have to wait until he's completed his work on that. And finally, he gave a reconstruction of how Peninsular Malaysia and Thailand were actually one particular land mass, and probably with a large river running down in the country. And that's where we get the similarities of Cretaceous fossils. Thank you very much, Dr. Sone, for that very, very interesting talk.
Thank you.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the three presentations. Let us now move on with the Q&A session, where we invite questions from the participants online. Now, please identify yourself as well as the organizations that you represent. So any questions, anyone from the... Daniel, are there any hands raised?
Hello, yes.
Anyone raised? Yes, I see that somebody has raised. Is there anyone with your questions?
Hello, Jacqueline. Jacqueline.
Jacqueline Ang. Can you unmute yourself, please? Miss Ang. Daniel, did you mute her?
No. I think she...
Oh, and I see that
Yes,
Tan Sri
she has
Mazlan
to
is now with
unmute.
us.
I think Jacqueline has to unmute herself. Okay, well, next question first then.
Yeah. Any other questions?
But I think should I answer the question, because I would like to type it, but because I'm in a very difficult situation, it's difficult for me to type. But there's a lot of questions on the question and answer. So
The chat box, you're referring to the chat box. I
not
can't
really
see
chat box. There's a Q&A box for us.
Mm.
Yeah. And the first question is, if it's possible for all area in Kuala Lumpur to sink due to limestone.
Oh,
So any of us can answer it. I'm as a geologist, I think it is important to say as well, not the whole Kuala Lumpur are made of limestones. There's also granite, but our chairman, Mr. Logannathan, you can assist me on this as well as to do the geologists.
Yeah, you're smart. You put me in a fix here.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
work together on geodiversity.
Actually, you have essentially answered the question. Not all of Kuala Lumpur is
Yeah.
underlain by limestone. There's also the Kent Hill Formation,
Mhm.
in a large part of it, including schist. And so not to worry. But I understand that department, Minerals and Geoscience Department, is doing a detailed survey of the Kuala Lumpur area for DBKL, and soon we will know where the limestone areas are and all that. So not to worry.
And also, I think we should mention to them as well, not all the limestone was just a limestone. Some of them already turned into metamorphic rock for marbles that have some strength in terms of engineering. So it takes some time to be rooted, just like a normal limestone. But it is important. I think all the geologists in the country are aware of that. And then I believe that many designs have been taking into account the limestone within the area, right? And the second one would be on the, this, Mr. Logannathan, I need you because you the minerals experts, because they asked me on regarding utilizations of mineral that I mentioned. Do we depend a lot on import minerals such as tin to be used for country development, or do we mine and process of our own resources to be used in the country? Are the resources contribute more in terms of money through export or do these resources are being used more in material for the country development?
Yes. Again, we still have some tin mines operating. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have 12 tin mines operating in Peninsular Malaysia. So we still produce a fair amount of tin. And the tin is being smelted in the country. So we mine and process our resources. And some of it is, of course, is made into tin products. There are two famous tin companies that make tin models and so on and so forth. So the resources contribute a lot in terms of money through exports. They do too, but much of it is also used in the country, while some of it is exported. Okay.
Okay, I will answer for them. I think in the tough, this is from Mahin Udin on a third wave. What are some important innovations that help on geodiversity? What I speak of on innovations for under the geodiversity is that when we create a geopark, we call it social innovations because we're empowering the local to taking care of their own geoheritage within the area. For example, the community in Kilim. We call it social innovations when the community of Kilim take the ownerships of protecting the geological heritage within the Kilim River along with the forestry department, and they also managing all the geosites within it. And if you look at what Dr. Jha mentions in Korat as well, where the local community are getting finance from tickets and services provided by it, Kilim is among the community that we call in Malaysia are being uplifted by the geoheritage protection or geodiversity within the Kilim itself, because they are started as a fishermen with previously, I think, less than 40,000 per year, but now they are, I think, more than 100% of their, we call it their profit from being part of Geopark. When they are become the boat owner, they become the tour guide, they become a service provider in that geoheritage or geodiversity within the Kilim itself. So that is social innovations that we see in conservation itself. Yeah. And Fatin also asked, why is the protection of geodiversity still far behind protections of biodiversity? I answer first, but I also ask Mr. Logannathan if you have anything to add to that. But as I mentioned earlier, it's not easy in the case of maybe globally as well. We see that most of geodiversity are utilizations or extractions. You extract it for economic benefit of your country. Therefore, we don't really work into conserving it. But biodiversity is things that you see and the loss of it, you can see it. And also biodiversity, when it's gone, you can you can replant it, you can see it within your lifetime. But sometimes things that not being seen, you might say, okay, it's still there, the mountain is still there, we still have this mineral. So we never thought that we're going to lose it, we'll no longer have it. This kind of thing that none of these resources will last forever is only or felt by those who have been through big industrial revolutions like in Europe, in which most of their rocks are gone and then, yeah, it's all left in the building. But in Malaysia, look at our building, we don't really build things using rocks, except in the last few centuries. So I think that also play a role why the geodiversity are less, in that movement in terms of biodiversity. Also, geologists are very much on economics, so they don't really bother doing conservations. I remember when I started doing conservations in 2099, even my lecturer said to me, Tanot, this is not a subject you should take. You better do extractions, geology. Because there is more, I think, financial gain in extraction. But when we change our mind and paradigm, it's not easy as a geologist to change our paradigm to do some conservations. And as you can see, Malaysia, we took about 20 years, more than 20 years to have that ideas. And we still, we are moving, but we're quite slow though. Yeah. So that my answer, but maybe Mr. Logannathan would like to add
No.
some more to that.
Actually, we are moving at geological speeds very slowly. So, but I would like to say protection of biodiversity is aided by the presence of acts. We have some legal ordinance in place which protects biodiversity of the country. But protection of geodiversity, I'm not sure whether maybe Dr. Tanot can help me. Are there any acts that protect our geodiversity?
Not much though, only under the National Heritage Act.
Yeah, and that's geodiversity also is protected.
That is
in
for
that.
geodiversity, but not many are being protected at present, and very difficult to protect them as well, because we
Yes,
have
and-
made several attempts ever since it being established in 2005. Yes.
So I think that explains why it's still far behind protection of biodiversity.
Okay, should we answer the next one is how many years does it take for land to change and reshape the world
Yeah.
landscape? I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah, you see the thing is the world map in 1200s and 1800s, they were not accurate maps. They were done by the traders of the time. There were some maybe cartographers who followed the ships and all that. So, but although you can see significant changes, but they're not accurate. They're not accurate. So what you see then, I don't think they have changed much except for in the last 800 years, whether there's been much change. No.
But maybe we can speak for local area, localized, I think, that
Yeah.
how geodiversity can shape it. For example, how America started to have geological act in 1980s when they have this Mount Helen burst out and totally changed the landscape. The whole environment has changed. You can go through any YouTube and you realize that how geology changed the environment, not the whole not more like not a map totally, but one ecosystem or environment can be changed by geological phenomena, just like volcanic eruptions or a landslide, huge one, or tsunamis, things like that. Yeah. Oops. Yeah.
Okay. There's a question here from Malina Jasamai. Dr.
Yeah,
Tanot
yeah.
mentioned about geotourism. Won't this affect preservation of the geodiversity?
Yeah, maybe Jarun also can answer for this. Yeah, I answered the first part. And the geotourism took two paths. Geotourism could be a highly significant geology in which we conserve, or could be any geological site that is attracted people to it. For example, waterfall. How does different waterfall created by different types of rock create different types of waterfall? So it might not be significant that we need to conserve all the waterfall, but some does because of the aesthetic values probably. Therefore, geotourism can be used for the conservation area if we already conserve the outstanding, for example, outstanding waterfall that is the highest or the tallest in the country, so we protect it. But we still can use it. But because in the geotourism, we have also two ways of doing it. Combining the conserve side along with the common one, but attract people. For example, just a simple waterfall, but not really significant in terms of geology, but good for geo-education. So we connect it through a geo trail. So there you have a trail, you learn about diverse types of waterfall that created by different types of rocks. Yeah, those kind of thing. But that also could refer to a fossil site, for example. Maybe Jaron can be detailed on this. Some fossil sites are very sensitive. For example, if it is something of what Dr. Masatoshi worked on, we might not be able to open it to public. Yeah, but we can pull it out as a display for people to appreciate in museums and different area for geotourism. So that is my answer. Maybe my friend here can add more on that. Yeah.
So, Jar, can you maybe explain on that? Like, Are there any sites in the Korat Plateau which are where tourists cannot enter because it's still research work is still being done in that area? Are there any such sites in Korat?
So as Dr. Tanot mentioned about education, this is very important to give the aware the local people and the tourists how to serve, how to protect the geosite. I mean, not only the geology or geodiversity, but also the natural and the cultural side. Sometimes it's corrupt each other. And yeah, of course, in the fossil side is very, is the weak point, is not easy. Sometimes we have to decide which part should be open for the tourists and then which one should be just only for the researcher, especially the weak, the how to say, the crisis area. For example, like you can pick the fossil very easy to take it off, and then we have to protect this. Or sometimes the tourists destroy the fossils. We have to protect this area and don't need to go inside, for example, like this. And we have to public more and more. I mean the publication to give the people, and then and also sometimes they put a lot of tasks in the area, and we have to train the local people how to guide the tourists before you travel this area, before you visit. After you visit, you don't need to leave anything in the geosite. This is very important. So you take the how to say, the task, and then you have to take it back, something like that. And the local people also should be know the thing like this, and they can give the tourists the knowledge. This is very important. So for me, I think the education is very important. Yeah. So we have to educate, or not only the tourists, but also the local people who can be the guides in the area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agree. Yep.
We have a question here from Mr. Tran Tan Van. We have similar red bed sediments in Vietnam. Any special techniques or methods to look for these dinosaurs? Maybe Sonesan, maybe you can try and answer this question. In
Okay,
Vietnam,
yeah.
was Vietnam part of the makeup of the Mesozoic continent?
Yes, this red bed, so-called red beds, extend over Laos, Cambodia, and some part of Vietnam as well. If not mistaken, this term red bed originally comes from northern Vietnam. It's a French geologist term. So yes, but somehow, if not, so Vietnam has no dinosaur find yet. Then, oh, surprising. So now already Laos and even Cambodia has, dinosaur discoveries one after another. So I'm sure Vietnam, why not? Yeah. But if nobody looks for it, no fossil. The thing is that now many come from Thailand, particularly because many paleontologists and many students love to look for. But if I tell you, if 20 years ago, when I first started studying Thai geology to compare with Malaysian geology, only one or two local Thai paleontologists at that time. Now so many. And almost each university, local university in Thailand has a paleontologist. and mainly like Mahasarakum University, which has a PhD program for the paleontology. So they train the local paleontologists, and they produce and they find more and more. So this this positive spiral, reaction, this is important. Yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed that Mr. Tanwan has raised his hand. Does he have any additional question? Go ahead.
Actually, thank you very much for your reply, for your answer. Actually, yes, you are right. We have many things geologically interesting here in Vietnam, but what we don't have yet is dinosaur. So we look at Thailand, at China as kind of a holy land in terms of dinosaurs.
Mhm.
So actually, many geologists in Vietnam raise this question, but I, as far as I know, there is no real attempt to look for them.
Mhm.
Yeah. So because I am not a paleontologist, so I wonder if there is any signs, any evidence, any signs, and any particular knowledge or methods to look for these first signs. Thank you.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Dr. Sone.
I think this is partly because of the cultural background as well. Like this is also a problem in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, this paleontology or natural history study, natural science study is often not well appreciated. Not only geology, but also some biodiversity study, etc. Are not well appreciated. In my university, also, basically no funding given for this pure science, basic science study, of course. In Malaysia, typically for those applied or economically profitable research, of course, gains more funding, but not for basic science. So of course, this the paleontology is low flying. So this may be a reason for Vietnam as well. I don't know.
Okay, Dr. Tanot, we have Jacquelina who had posed two questions in the chat box. You may want to answer them. It's about Bakosi stack and the Tusan horse head, which had collapsed.
Yeah. I think she asked about what were some mitigation measure and actions which could be taken to protect and conserve the formations or attractions. I think this is, for me, quite a tough question because we want to work against nature. Yeah. That is also part of challenges in conserving significant or important geological features because we 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 are either can work against nature or we let the nature take its course, but we appreciate it while it's there. But there are also some work I know that been done under the museums, which is to preserve some of these features. I don't even see it in Malaysia by far, but my visit to Taiwan Geopark, in which, if you remember, there's a queen head, which is also a sea snake like what we have. But what the people realize, they know that sooner or later the queen head will be fall down. You don't know when the time is. But what they did, they replicated or replicated, make some features on it in the museums and gallery and recorded it. Because a work against nature, when we do some kind like, for example, mitigations of protection, not all the work. I give you some example in Langkawi. there's one area called Pasir Hitam where you have all these black sands. And there's quite a strong erosions in that area. And then the geologists in Malaysia know that that area is very significant in understanding why the sand are black first. But then the local authority consider that the wave erosions are not safe for all the shops nearby. Therefore, they built this sand back along the path. And now you no longer see the sand, the black sand anymore. So I would say some of the mitigation work might not work in our side. So therefore, when we have it, we appreciate it. If we can replicate it so that people will appreciate it. Yeah. But some work, by far, I don't remember any work successful in doing that. Even the 12 apostle is no longer 12 apostle by now in Australia, right? Yeah, because of this need. This is natural processes. What we can do is that we could be replicated, let people learn about it, that it is only a matter of time, it could be gone and no longer there. But appreciations of nature that only exist in that time is very important for me. That's my answer to Jacqueline. Yeah. Because right now, not many people would like to do the mitigations, but we can do different mitigations for, oh, I would say for fossil we did though. Yeah. But not for things that very much exposed to nature as this. I've been to France in where they protect all the, fossil site using bulletproof glasses so that it will not being, when it exposed to environment, not because it's going to preserve forever, but will last longer. Yeah. It's hard to work against nature. Yeah, that's my words to that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tanot, for that reply. For the last question from the Q&A chat box, there's one question on biodiversity. I don't think we will answer that because this is on geodiversity. So what is the biggest challenge of protecting and interpreting the geodiversity of the geopark? Maybe each one of you could try and answer that. The biggest challenge of protecting and interpreting the geodiversity of the geopark. Although the one in Pahang is not a geopark yet, Dr. Sone, it hopefully one day it'll be declared a geopark because of the fossils that have been found in that area. Right. Maybe Dr. Tanot, you can lead the discussion by what is the biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge in protecting is that, as mentioned earlier, there's no law with regard to protecting of geo heritage in the country. Not really direct law, although national heritage law do have, but not much we can do about it. As a country, we need an act for this geo heritage. In the case of Malaysia, we need it because, by having that, it's much easier to protect. It's not just fossils, landscape, but we have minerals, we have, rocks that need protections. That's a real big challenge. And this real big challenge also added to that we don't really emphasize on the studies of appreciating geology. I think by having this Geodiversity Day is fantastic. Giving more awareness to people of what is geology, what is geodiversity, the underpinning life. Because by giving awareness to people, that will bring, we will not conserving it just for the sake of geological important, but the people who own it, because the geology itself gives us an identity to the people who live within the geopark itself. The geology that give identity, for example, those who live in KLM, those who live in a geopark in Langkawi, they are geoparkian. And so do other geopark across the country. They are the guardians of this geological heritage that is important for the country and for the world if they become UNESCO Global Geopark. I think the real big challenge is to change and shift the minds of the people to appreciate the geology. And another task is also among the geology itself. Yeah, we are very much looking, we are still in just like Mr. Logannathan said, we are moving in a geological time scale, yeah, which is kind of like, to some extent, almost disheartened those who work on conservation, particularly promoting geopark. And we imagine that geopark is not just a work of you propose it and you get it. It's not like a work exercise. It's more like the community and the local authority who believe in it, who want to propose it and work to promote geopark with you. Then you can have a geopark. I think that's a real big challenge, to influence the people who own the land within particularly the state within the country. Yeah, I speak of Malaysia in that term. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. What about Dr. Jarum Duang Krayong? What is the biggest challenge in Thailand of protecting and interpreting the geodiversity of your geoparks there?
Okay, I think it's similar with Dr. Tanot mentioned. So, but the last question for me is the I saw the last question for me, how involved the government towards preserving Thailand biodiversity. That we have the acts. Yes, from the local level to the national level to protect the forest and wildlife in Thailand from the Ministry of Forestry. But sometimes, the conflicts between the people, the local people, and the acts also. We can say it very easy, but the big challenge is how to make them understand the geodiversity or biodiversity, and then how to make them feel like how to preserve that. Is if they feel like their own teacher, and then they will help each other to protect the natural the resources, the local resources. But that if we separate it, sometimes acts success, but sometimes acts also success. But when they love, we have to protect the resources by their mind. It's not the act. But if they love the resources, they will help each other to protect the resources. This is very important. So for the Kora Geopark, we try a lot to give their knowledge. Yes, we have a lot of training courses, not only for the geodiversity, but also the biodiversity in the area. And in Thailand, we have some monk. The monk in the temple, they try to protect the forest, and then they try to hold the spirit of the people to work together and to protect the forest together. And then also the act come later. This is very important. So that's why Kora Geopark, we show the model of the home, temple, and school, that work together in the local area to learn to drive the geopark activity. This is very important. So it's not only monk. Maybe in Malaysia, Indonesia, you have the the religion is very good to hold the spirit, the people spirit, and then how to give them at that time when they come together, and then we can give their knowledge about the geodiversity, about the biodiversity and the culture in this area, how to link each other without the natural resources, without the people in this area, and then how to push them and work with them. This is very important. If you go just only one time, they don't believe you, but you have to go to work with them so many times, and then they will believe, oh, you are very good, and okay, we will work with you. But if you stop to work, and then they will, oh, okay, I don't need to work with you anymore. This is very important, you know, and I think this model can use not only in the Buddhism country, but also the Muslim and Christian. They can use this way, try to give their knowledge, and then they will love, and then they will feel these resources is their own. They will help each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Cha. Okay, Dr. Sone, what is your take on the great, biggest challenge of protecting a geodiversity?
Geodiversity. For protecting the fossil sites or the important outcrops, often this is difficult in Malaysia. Or as Dr. Jeron pointed earlier, it's important to raise this education in the public and let the people, local people, proud of their property, this local resources, geological resources. What I should mention was that when we soon after we reported Malaysian dinosaur, but we couldn't reveal the fossil site, of course. Then what happened in the internet was the people started to bid where this dinosaur locality was. So people bid, the Taman Negara, Chini, or Juranto, or people started to bid. And even for some time, I received phone calls almost every day that where did you find it? Or news papers, reporters came to my department and did you find it from Taman Negara? Well, always people tried to. So this, dinosaur has this weakness or problem anyway. When people see dinosaur discovery, often this happen. Even happened in Thailand earlier time. But how to protect, etc. In Malaysia, we are still, we have to perhaps learn from Thailand or those pioneers. And the good thing is that we, in neighbor country in Thailand, we have a good success model. So yeah, how we find that the report, then we have to protect it for a longer research and for future public, public museum or public education, etc. Still a long way to go, but the good thing is that we have a model case in Thailand. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Sone. In fact, Dr. Sone, your student, Ms. Ting, is now working in the Academy of Sciences Malaysia.
That's
as
right.
an analyst there. No more paleontology.
That's right.
It's sad. It's sad, but is the way life moves on in the country. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the end, it's already past 5 o'clock. As we come to the end of our Geodiversity Day webinar, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed panelists, all three of them, for sharing their knowledge and perspectives on geodiversity. The preservation of our planet's geodiversity is not only crucial for understanding the Earth's history, but also for sustaining the natural world's future. In conclusion, these discussions reinforce that conserving our geological heritage is essential for understanding the past and ensuring a sustainable future. By valuing and protecting geodiversity, we lay the groundwork for a resilient planet. Thank you to the audience for joining us on our webinar today, and I will now pass this session back to our host. Daniel, it's yours.
Hello. Tan Sri, do you have anything to talk? Tan Sri, Mazlan?
No, this was excellent. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you all the time. I was at another meeting. But thank you so much for being part of this. I see my old friends here. Yeah, I learned quite a lot from this session. Of course, geodiversity has always been one of my favorite things. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, can we have a screenshot of our picture? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Tika. Okay, 1, 2. Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Logan, as our moderator today. Thank you, Dr. Tanot, Dr. Unjah, Dr. Masatoshi.
Thank you,
These are
Daniel.
our speakers today.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, I found the discussion very insightful and interesting, and I believe the participants enjoy it too. I would like to remind the audience that this webinar is pre-conference event of the International Conference on Tropical Sciences 2024. And if you would like to watch the recording of today's session, you can check out our YouTube channel, Tropical Science Foundation YouTube channel. We will upload the video soon. Thank you so much to the all moderators again, speakers, and our audience for participating in this webinar and for your incredible support. To the participants, thank you very much for attending the webinar. Goodbye and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you
Daniel.
very much.
Goodbye.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
ขอบคุณ
all.
ครับ
Thank you,
ขอบคุณ
Tansri.
ครับ
See you.
See you.
Yeah.
See you.
Bye.
And Mr. Tansri.